מזרחי, גונן, הנה נתון. שמחה מראות כבר היה, ביטרנו עליו בסדר. מה זה פונדציה? טוב, לא נשאר אחרי. Última.
ערב טוב לכולם, שלום. ברוכות וברוכים הבאים, המצטרפים לעוד מפגש עם אני לוסנג. היא תצטרף אלינו אולי באיחור של דקה-שתיים, אז נתחיל עם כמה הודעות רגילות. מזכירים לכם שכל המפגשים מוקלטים, ומי שמפספס יכול לצפות בהקלטות בעמוד היוטיוב של ידי הדרמה. אפשר להיכנס אליו דרך סמל היוטיוב שנמצא בראש דף הבית של האתר. ואני שומעת את עצמי כפול בגלל ההקלטה, אז אני רק אשים את זה על השטק. אוקיי. בנוסף, מי שעדיין לא שם את עצמו על מיוט, בבקשה, זה הזמן. אפשר יהיה במהלך השיעור לשאול שאלות כשאני תאמר שזה הזמן. מי שיכול להדליק את המצלמה שלו, זה גם יהיה מאוד נעים, ויגרום לנו להרגיש כאילו אנחנו קצת יותר ביחד, ולא מבעד למסכים. ומי שמעוניין לתת דנה בתמורה לשיעורים הבאמת יקרי ערך ונפלאים שאנחנו מקבלים, שכולם כמובן בהתנדבות מלאה, מוזמן לעשות את זה דרך הקישור לפייפל, או פרטי העברה בנקאית שאפשר למצוא בעמוד של מפגשי הדרמה של אני לוסנג באתר. וזהו, שיהיה לימוד מועיל ומעניין. בואו נראה אם אני לה כבר איתנו.
אנחנו יכולים להפעיל את ה-unmute עד שאני לה מגיעה?
בטח.
אחרי זה תשתיקי אותנו באחת.
בעיה. יש עוד דבר אחד שלא אמרתי, ואם יש לנו זמן אז למה לא. יש טקסטים נלווים לשיעור שכולם נמצאים גם בעמוד של אנילה, באתר ידידי הדרמה. אנחנו קוראים את הטקסט של שנטידבה, מדריך לאורח חיי הבודיסטווה. אפשר למצוא שם גם את הפרק שבו אנחנו דנים, הפרק בסבלנות, וגם פרשנויות. אז מי שרוצה ככה קצת להעמיק מעבר לשיעורים, מאוד מאוד מוזמן לעשות את זה.
זה הספר. רואים?
תראי שוב ליאורה, נראה לי שלא ראו אותך.
רואים לו בפוקוס.
מקבלים vague idea.
אבל אותך אני רואה בפוקוס.
תראה לי בשוב. מה קורה?
הנה אני לה.
Hello, Leora.
היי.
Are you the host? Oh no, Gal is here also. Or are you the main host this evening?
As usual. Hi, Anila.
Okay, hello.
Hello, Anila.
Let's see who is here. Can I have a... Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hello. How are you doing?
we are fine.
Good.
Good, really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Have you forgotten that you are in samsara?
From time to time, but I have reminders, okay?
Yeah, but it's okay, you know, it's okay, as you say, it's good to know that we are in samsara, but it's also good to know that we can get out of it. Because I think without joy or without a mind that is light, like not too heavy, it will be very difficult to get out of samsara. Actually, it will be very difficult to work with our negative states of mind, because if they are taking over, it's very difficult to start to believe in our potential of goodness and happiness, and you know that this would actually be our nature. Gal, have you already done your Aidya Dharma talk?
Yeah, we're over it already.
That's already done, so that's good. Okay, so how about we start with a short reflection? Because also, you see, we all want to transform our mind, I guess, I hope. I mean, that should be our motivation for doing this, because otherwise it's very difficult. And as Geshe Tashi said, this thing about practicing patience and overcoming anger without having to suppress it, or without having to kind of live it out, it has to be a very, very strong wish. And the wish should come, as we started going through the disadvantages of anger, the wish should come by actually experiencing what anger is doing to you, not so much to others. You know, I mean, others can protect themselves by thinking about their own karma or emptiness, or seeing your own suffering. This is the best protection of, you know, so that anger doesn't hurt you. Of course, I mean about verbal anger, not physical anger. Physical anger, if somebody kind of wants to hit you or stab you, then you have to run away. But verbal anger, we can actually protect ourselves through understanding. And especially through understanding that the same way as I don't have control over my anger or over my negative emotions in general, the same way the other person doesn't. And so we, you know, the picture that our mind is painting when somebody is angry at us gets totally different. Like, you see, we all think we're normal, isn't it? When we talk about other people like that are not so normal, sometimes, oh, he's a bit crazy, or he's a bit gaga, or he's a bit loopy, or whatever. But we never actually count ourselves into that category, isn't it? Or do you? Well, not, you know, now, of course, I mean, sometimes, but we say it laughingly, you know, when we make some mistakes and we can forgive ourselves, and in a kind of laughing way, we go like, oh my gosh, I'm so crazy. Why am I doing this? But it's in a kind way that we're actually doing it, because we know that this is not the whole part of myself. I also have different aspects in a way. But if we look at what the Buddha says, then he says we are all crazy. We are all mad. We are all, none of us is normal unless you are fully awakened. This is another thing, which I don't know, but maybe you are. So it's only when one is totally normal, one would have like zero wish to harm somebody else. And one would have like a spontaneous wish to be of help, to be of benefit to others. Like same way as a mother or a father, very spontaneously, they have these kind of attitudes or feelings towards their children. So we have it, we can do it. The problem is that we only have it for, it's very limited. We only have it for a few people. So the purpose here is the purpose of Buddhism, especially the purpose of Mahayana Buddhism, is about widening that attitude, by very, very different reasons, which you will learn when you, and many of you have heard it, when you practice bodhicitta. One of the arguments why we should have an open heart towards all beings is that in all our previous lives, which are countless, we've had, each of them has been like a kind mother to us or a kind father. So then we have some kind of a, duty is not such a nice word, but there should be a wish wanting to repay their kindness. That's one of the arguments or one of the reasonings. And the other reasoning is that we're totally depending on other people and we think we are independent. Like again, we always do the same exercise. Have you done it at least once this week? Putting on, today in Switzerland is very cold, so this is why I'm wearing a sweater. Have you been thinking about putting on your sweater or your t-shirt or socks or whatever? Have you been thinking, wow, this comes from so many other beings? Do we remember it? I usually remember it when I tell you to remember it, to be honest. So, but any of you has it remembered? Just from time to time to have this thought by touching your clothes and thinking, wow, people work really hard for these kind of schmattes that I'm wearing, isn't it? So, and then to see, this is what I mean. This is why we meditate. This is why we do these reflections. This is why we are trying to stabilize the mind. Because if you don't have a stable mind, if you don't have this capacity of really seeing how it feels in your mind, in your body, when you start thinking like this, then nothing will transform. If it's just words up in the head and there's no feeling inside, there's no resonance inside, then then it's just nothing will happen. This is why this is also one part of the path, is not just to study. Of course, study is very important, but the other part is also to, whatever you have studied, to put it into practice and to start to feel, oh, how does it feel when I think about somebody who has made my clothes, my food, my house, my shoes, my computers, whatever. And then to see, advantage, disadvantage, or to make a choice. We like to make choices. We like to be free. We like to be free to make choices. So to actually not, I have to work with anger or I must work with anger, but some kind of, I choose to work with my anger because I have had the experience that anger is actually harming me. So it's okay to think about you at the beginning, because if we don't think about ourselves at the beginning, we will never kind of work with anger for other people's sake. If we're not even working with anger, but in a skillful way for our own sake, for our own happiness, then we might do it for some others that we're very attached to, but then the others is like, they will get it fully. So stable mind who is able to reflect or to observe, let's say, to be aware, a mind who is aware without, something arises without immediately having an opinion or making, a phrase or good, bad, I want, I don't want. And so the first thing that you will see is how much is going on in our mind, how many thoughts. And yesterday we had the shamatha meditation evening here in Bern, on the computer. And And so we usually, because they're all Buddhists, so we do, you know, refuge, 4 immeasurables, bodhicitta, 4 immeasurables, 7 limbs, offering the mandala, and the inner, first the outer mandala and then the inner mandala. Some of you might know what all this is. So when you offer the inner mandala, you actually offer everything that is creating our suffering. You offer possessions, you offer friends, enemies, strangers, and you especially offer these 3, it's called mental poisons of ignorance, attachment, and aversion. So shamatha is kind of a boring meditation because, you know, you have one object, you have to bring the mind back again and again and again and again, and I don't lead anything. Because I really want to, we just take the group energy, so people do it 3 times 20 minutes. So they all know the instructions. I mean, it's, you know, shamatha is really simple. You don't need to kind of go blah, 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 the whole meditation. Because what I noticed also, it's very pleasant when somebody leads the meditation. But you don't really meditate. You don't really strengthen that muscle of bringing the mind back again and again and again and again, because I noticed that in myself when somebody's leading, it's very pleasant. So you just very pleasantly go along with that voice, you know, then sometimes you kind of lose it a little bit, but you're not, I didn't bring the mind back myself. I waited for unconsciously almost, I waited for the voice to say something and then come back. So we decided here that if we do shamatha, I'm not leading anything. And so, but what I said, when you see that thoughts come up in this meditation, try to see what they have to do with, because we just gave away in the mandala our attachment, our aversion, our ignorance, our friends, our enemies, our strangers, because these are the, you know, these minds create these 3 categories. So when you have thoughts in your meditation, which we will have, of course, because that's the function of the mind, it's normal, but try to see where they come from. Is it because of attachment? Is it because of confusion? Or is it because of aversion? And because then at least what you're doing, you're not just wasting your time kind of hanging around in the past or making plans for the future, but at least you make the step out of the thoughts. You're not just, you know, swimming with the thoughts. You go into some kind of awareness by trying to see, oh, what is it? Where does it come from? You know, and anyway, you know, I don't know how many of you have seen the older students, you all have seen Tenzin Palmo's video, The Nature of the Mind. Many times we watched that video in all the longer courses, which was really nice. It's a great teaching, actually. And where she just, in a very, very penetrating way, she says, well, what is a thought? You know, we kind of, you know, our whole life is dictated by these thoughts, and we don't know what it is. We never look. Yeah. Okay, so this is what we did yesterday. Maybe I can suggest to do the same thing at the beginning. If you feel that your mind is not on the object, then you try to see, okay, what kind of thoughts was I preoccupied with? But the meditation is kind of short enough. We do maybe 10 minutes, so that you should be fairly calm on your object. Make sure you're sitting comfortably, but kind of in a, you know, in a relaxed way, but if possible with a straight back. We need to, I cannot shut them up. So can you close your microphones also so we don't have any background sounds? Don't be too comfortable, you know, like this, because then the mind cannot become clear. And as I said, it's only 10 minutes. It's worthwhile to put in the effort. Okay, and you really connect with your body. And in order to relax the body, again, you can do a body scan. What I usually do, because I find it's very fast, it's very quick, and I like to do things the quick way. I just imagine that I'm breathing with the whole body. Try it out. Maybe it works for you too. Maybe it doesn't. This is another thing, you know, where you get all these methods for you to try out what works best for you. And when I talk about tensions, I talk especially about tensions, shoulders and face. Also, if you're sitting on the floor, the thighs or the buttocks that you're pulling together in order to give the spine more strength. Your hands, you can have them in any way you want, but again, make sure they're not too heavy. So you can put them on your knees, palms facing down or in your lap. Left hand is supporting the right hand, thumbs are touching. Allow yourself to be relaxed. Allow the body to be relaxed, but without moving so much. You see, we relax the body with the mind, not with moving, because when we move, we don't feel the tensions. It's only by sitting still that you can feel the tensions. If you feel very restless, which can be also, can be the case, then try to relax into that restlessness. Allow it to be there, but don't react on it. Allow it to be there in a very friendly way, in a kind way. Whatever is there, be it anger, fear, restlessness, and just relax. And so if you are very restless, or, it's okay actually just to be with the fact that the body is sitting. Just to be aware of that, just to know that. Oh, Malka, can you please close your microphone?
It's open.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. It's okay now. Just relax. So if you're used to meditate like this, you will feel your mind will go automatically to the object of kind of calming the mind, making it peaceful. But you will need some strength to stay there. You need to push a little bit unless you're very experienced. So make that effort. Usually we take the breath for those who really don't know, but I doubt that there's somebody who really doesn't know. So usually we take the breath, we choose a spot, either the small, slight kind of pressure that it makes when you breathe in at your nostrils, or the rising and falling of your abdomen. Or if you're very restless, you can use the whole cycle, so that's fine. And try to give yourself the choice again, don't force yourself not to follow your thoughts. We can make a choice here, because past is finished, future has not yet come. And also the thoughts have nothing to do with the present. They're either in the past or in the future. So enjoy the present. It's the only place we have to live. And you will see, if you put a little bit of effort, a little bit of kind of pressure pushing to keep your awareness on your breath, slowly, slowly the mind will open up, it will calm down. Don't force anything, but apply a bit of effort to keep the mind on your breath. Gal, can you close your mic, please? Thank you. So whoever felt disturbed by this sound, it's okay. You know, sound brings us back into the present also. So as I said, it's also okay just to work with keeping the awareness, the knowing directly, unmistakably that the body is sitting. It's just training the mind to know directly what is going on now. That's all. And then when the mind has become a bit calmer, this is where then we can work with it. Becomes more flexible also. So most of you know this text, which is called the Lamrim, which is like the stages of the path. And of course, what it starts with is always remembering the Guru. Like, you know, everything we know because somebody has taught us. And here how to work with the mind so that the mind, that we can actually eliminate all negative emotions. It goes all the way down these methods to Shakyamuni Buddha. But it's also okay to remember the person that you call your teacher, somebody who inspires you. And then again, you know, with this mind that is aware, with the mind that knows, notice the body experiences, the body sensations, how the mind feels, how the body feels when you think about this person. Then another topic that comes right after that we don't really put enough effort into realizing it, is called precious human rebirth. Our mind has a habit, a tendency always to kind of latch onto the negative things, the things that are not well. Things are difficult. But if we want to transform something, I said at the beginning, we need to have a mind that is stable and happy, open, inspired. So just think, you know, all the freedoms that we have. Okay, now don't come into, you but have to go to work. Yeah, okay. You have to go to work, but you also have free time. And some people like me might already be on a pension. So also we have some like outer freedoms, you know, we can choose where we want to live according to our financial means. We can choose what we want to eat, what we want to drink. Very often we can even choose which doctor we want to go to, which clothes we want to wear, which sexual orientation we want to have, what books we want to read, what movies we want to see. And we can especially choose how we want to spend our free time. So it's so important to know what we want. Like all these possibilities that we have in our life, like we have a human mind, which can reason, which can think, which can study. We have a mouth, we can talk, we can discuss, we have ears, we can hear these things. We have other people around us that inspire us, that practice with us. So we're never really fully aware of how fortunate we actually are. We just love to complain. So maybe with your mind that is aware now, that is really looking in a kind of neutral way, just ask yourself, why is that? Why I really love to complain so much? Don't give yourself an answer. Asking the question is enough when the mind is calm. Why am I so fascinated by negative things, by difficult things? Why do I spend so much time explaining to others how difficult my life is and the life of those around me? Why is that? What is the reason? What's the purpose? What's the benefit? And then the next question, what do I really want to do with these, richnesses and freedoms I have in my life? How do I want to spend the time I have in this body? Because at one point I will have to go. Who knows where I will be reborn, but we're not going to go there with the reflection. We first stay. How do I want to use the situation that I have? Do I want to use it to grow? Or do I want to use it to complain? Don't manipulate anything. Allow the mind to find its own answers. No answer is also okay. Because already the question is good. What do I really want? What is important for me? Where are my priorities? Okay. Anybody has found an answer why we like to complain so much? Why we are so attracted to the negative things? Or maybe you don't belong to these people. Maybe you are the ones who kind of naturally only see the good things in your life. So if nobody is answering anything, then I suppose you belong to those, to the ones that, you always tell everybody how wonderful your life is, how great it is, how this and that. Also, it's not about telling others, by the way, okay? because this is also maybe the mistake that we made with Tal. You remember last time when we were patient, then we said, yeah, but it gets on other people's nerves. We don't have to tell others. Yeah. Also with the complaining, I'm more talking about, you know, the thoughts that I have, how they are very naturally almost going always to the negative things, and how, you know, how that is very strong. Whereas the good things that I have to remind myself. Yeah. The mind naturally goes to the things that are difficult, where my mind, I don't know about yours. So then why is that? What do you think? You can either put it in the chat or you can say.
For me, it's from time to time, not always, to low down a little bit energy if I'm doing this. So if I do it to myself, so it's like a little bit to start over.
Okay.
To put it outside and said, okay, wow, I said it, yalla, let's go on.
That's good. Okay.
If it's just to friends, so it's some time to be like others.
It's always like this, or
if I said it to myself, yeah, sometimes, most of the time when I said it to myself, it's because I feel it like now in the Corona, I'm working with a lot of old people.
mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult. And I feel like I'm full of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the last day I found myself said a lot of, how do you say a lot in English? Like fuck and things like that, and don't have patience for things. And so I just go outside to work and start to scream and say a lot of things. And then I feel very well, very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So that's one reason to unburden in order to feel better. Anybody else?
I'm a shiatsu therapist. So when we do a treatment, we usually, when I'm trying to take out the jackie, the bad energies. Mm-hmm. So when my mind think about bad things and my mouth also say it, it's like putting them out from inside out, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe because we have patterns. I don't know.
Tendencies, habits. So again, this is why I'm kind of encouraging you to bring awareness into your daily life, to really see how you feel when not screaming and all this. These are like, I'm not talking about extreme situations. I'm talking about daily blah, 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 blah in the head, like the whole day, not just extreme situations. I'm talking about very ordinary kind of things, how we act, like Maya says, the tendencies, to be aware how it makes you feel. Yeah. And then also to see how it makes you feel when you start to this meditation, for example, on precious human rebirth. It is such a good antidote to depression. Because to be aware that we have choices how we want to feel. I'm sorry to say, I know that many people say, no, I don't, because my mother and my, this, and I have no money, and the government, and blah, 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 and this and that. It's not true. We do have a choice, but we're not taking it because we're not aware of how much it makes us suffer. We're not aware of our thoughts. Yeah, how they really, really drag us down all the time. I think the other thing also is, if we don't have anything to complain about, we become a very boring person. There's no ego. You see, the I feels very smug. Oh, listen to me, what happened to me, this and this and this and this and this. Then we don't even listen to others anymore. We are totally kind of stuck in our own thing. And it's almost sometimes when you listen to people and they talk about their suffering, it's almost a competition sometimes, who has more suffering than the other, instead of just listening. It's okay to kind of to complain, but when you complain and you see the difficulties in your life, Try to bring some kindness into the situation so that it can become compassion. You know, the wish to be free from this kind of suffering, or to be free from this kind of problem. Because when you have compassion, there is also, compassion is a calm, in a way, is a calm mind. And then there's also some wisdom in it by, for example, complaining about something that you cannot change. It just makes things worse, you see? So when you have compassion, that wisdom is in there. And then you go, okay, so, well, what can I do? I have to accept it. And we all know, you know, problems that were a big problem, like maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 months ago, at the moment, you know, some other problems have come and then they're gone. Yeah, we have all overcome problems. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. It really saps your energy, actually, this whole thing, as a, how do I say your name? Elisheva? Is that your name?
Yes.
Wow, nice name. What does it mean?
God 7.
God's servant.
7.
7. Oh, Sheva is 7. Oh, you see, I understood God's servant. I thought, wow, how wonderful. How beautiful. Wouldn't you like to be God's or the Buddha's servant? The Buddha's minister, the Buddha's servant, to serve others happily. You know, the whole thing about service and serving is like we don't like so much. But if you do it,
why not?
Exactly. If you do it voluntarily, because you say, hey, purpose of my life, for example, you know, when we go about, I have all these freedoms, I have all these richnesses. What do I want to do with this? And you go, I want to serve others. Wow, you'd be so happy. There's so many people you can serve. Yeah. Yes. If you want others to serve you, whoa, that's much more dangerous to have a happy life, because finding people who will happily serve you, that might be a little bit more difficult. Okay. Okay, so the awareness of, also I think your homework was a bit, I said, when you start to feel angry in the week, try to see how the I manifests and what the I says. Usually we get upset when somebody does some mistakes or somebody does something that we think could or should be done in another way. Did you do that? Did you do the homework? Did you observe? So how does the I or the me, you know, the ego, however you want to call it, how does it feel when you are angry? Does it feel comfortable? No, Ma is enough if you shake your head, okay, otherwise you can say. I think right at the moment when you are angry and you're not aware of it, it does feel comfortable. This is the problem. It feels stronger, and I have a right to say this, and I have a right to do like this, and then. But when you are aware and when you really look, a mind that is patient and a heart that is open feels much more comfortable. Yeah, this is it. And also what the angry mind says very often is totally exaggerated. It only sees one aspect. It makes it permanent. It makes it like objective. Yeah. Like when somebody is kind of nasty to you, I might have mentioned it already last week, because I think it's a really good example. When somebody is nasty at you or not nice or the way you want them to be, and then we voice our displeasure, we make exactly the 3 mistakes that our mind is making. Our mind is making things permanent. Our mind is making things existing out there objectively, separate from my mind. And my mind is making it only one-sided, especially the anger or the attachment, yeah, like no other aspects. So when somebody's nasty at you and you say, you know, you point at them and say, you are always so nasty to me. So you are not, I perceive you as being nasty. It is, you are. You see what I mean? It comes from there, the nastiness. Always, because that's what we think. We're not saying 2 or 3 times. We say always, or at least we think it. You know, again, it's not just the words. These words make sensations in your body. And this is where the awareness comes in again, to see how do I feel when I'd say these things? And I'm totally convinced you are always making the same mistake, isn't it? That's what we say. When somebody makes mistakes and we get angry, you are always making the same mistake. And we forget kind of the other aspects that this person also has. So this is what anger is doing. It freezes it into that very moment. And then that moment becomes eternity until, of course, something else comes along. So this is what maybe now you can nod, yeah, but again, it doesn't really help. This is what you have to learn to see, the story that my mind is telling when I am angry, okay? Is that okay? Or do you have any questions or concerns or comments or? And you see, I'm not talking about this exploding anger. Yeah, because this one, everybody knows that it's of no benefit, I think, I hope, yeah. And I'm also not talking about the very strong imploding anger when you refuse to communicate with somebody else. Both of them is anger, you know. One is kind of wanting the person, like shouting too much, having too much energy. The other one is imploding, and you can be, for example, you can have a very kind and nice face, but you totally refuse to cooperate with that person. Like nothing flows anymore. There's no harmony. Everything becomes a struggle. Like the energy between you is really like, ugh, you know, and maybe the other person is looking for the key, and you, with a very nice smile on your face, you say, oh, I wish I would know where the key is, but gosh, no, I'm so sorry, but you know where the key is. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Or do you not know what I'm talking about? Do you not do these things to others? Never, huh? And
I find that I'm very angry when I'm tired. When
yeah.
I'm really tired,
yes,
every little thing sets me off.
Yeah, this is very good. This is a very good observation. So at least you know, hi Adi. So at least you know that when you're very tired, you have to be very patient with yourself. Yeah. And when you are tired, the door to impatience and anger and frustration is wide open. So as much as you can in your free time, rest or relax about being angry in that state. And because when you are able to relax in that state, because we all
gone.
זה נראה כאילו אנילה התנתקה. נחכה ונראה. יכול להיות שנפל האזון.
Ay, ay, ay. ברח הזום.
Ay, ay.
Hello. Sorry, I didn't do this on purpose. I hadn't plugged it in and then the battery. So this time it was not the network. Last time it was the network who broke down. Seems to be something, something with Israel, I don't know. So yeah, so when you are tired, you know, it's so important that you recognize that and you just give yourself a break. And as I said also, when you're tired and angry, be really kind to yourself. And maybe, I don't know if you drink beer, you know, maybe you do drink beer because that helps to relax. Okay, no, maybe eat some chocolate or have some Glida or go to sleep. Or you see, everything can become a medicine, even though it's kind of considered unhealthy or not dharma or I don't know what. If you use it as a medicine in order to relax, then that's it. And especially try to relax about your anger. By being aware of it, by noticing it, trying to breathe in, said, hello, anger, here you are again. It's normal, I'm tired. So then you are in the compassion and in the kindness mode instead of being, you know, in the just becoming the whole anger. But yeah, it's true. Yeah. Also losing control, you know, not having control. This is another thing. You know, if we have control over somebody and we can just tell them, look, please stop this. This is no good. Or can you do this? Can you please do this in another way? And you know that the person is going to do it, like in Switzerland, then, you know, then we see it's no need to get angry, even though they made a mistake. Yeah, I have this with the person who is looking after our website. Sometimes he's not very concentrated and then I have to check and all this and, you know, makes mistakes, but it's okay because I know that if I'm telling him that he made a mistake, he's changing it. So then no need to get angry. But sometimes even then, so the first thing, you know, when I see, oh, he's done it again, it's like, but then, you know, with the awareness, you notice it, you relax, and only then you call. But sometimes there is this a bit of we do enjoy our anger sometimes, you know, this is the problem because we can get our frustration out at somebody else that we don't respect. And this is not such a great thing. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the text.
Can I speak about the small anger?
Huh?
Can I speak about the small angers?
Yes, please.
It was really very interesting, this exercise. I was watching myself, and I can call myself Mr. Angry. With a small anger, not big anger. Almost nothing in going outside, I have perfect control, but almost everything makes me angry. If I'm tired, I'm angry inside. If I'm hungry, I'm angry. If something doesn't flow the way the ego, wish, immediately something unpleasant happens inside. But it's interesting that, I mean, this exercise made me look at it. And when I look at it, I cannot change it. But sometimes it dissolves and it makes me more aware of what's happening in myself. So I can, that's the way, I don't have to react outside like this, but inside, that's the way.
Yeah, this is because we have expectations. And of course, we have certain ideas how other people should behave, what they should do. You know, here in Switzerland, we talked about, because somebody said, oh, no, I'm not so angry and this and that. And I said, oh, you know, just imagine walking in the forest and you see some young people throwing away these Red Bull cans that they just drank. You know, she said, oh, I would just pick them up and kind of bring them and bring it back to them and tell them, hey, look, you've lost something. I said, yeah, but you would do this with anger and not with kind of patience and all this. Yeah, so yeah, these kind of small angers, this is what we have to be careful about, because if we don't act them out, if we notice that we have them, and we don't act them out, they're not making new seeds and new tendencies. Yeah. And to be very forgiving that we have them, but to be, I think, because anger needs fuel. So anger wants to stay with the object. So why it doesn't go away? Because we don't let go of the object. We keep thinking about the thing, you know, or we keep repeating it. But I think if you really go inside, and Dani, I mean, you're such a good meditator and such a good practitioner, or you start reciting mantras, or you start, you know, absorbing the Shakyamuni Buddha into you, and you think, now I'm Shakyamuni Buddha, what would he do? Something like that. You know, again, to connect with our potential that we have. There's so many methods that you can do. So it's your job to find out which way works the best. And please not suppress the anger, but to work with it. Or even to start a conversation. Okay, anger, here you are. What do you want? You know, what do you want me to do now? You give me energy, you make me agitated. You give me energy, you make me tight in here. So tell me, what shall I do? Yeah, so you go into your reasoning instead of just acting out the energy, for example, because it's just a part of us. Yeah, and the thing is, because we carry around all these small angers, and then it's a habit, because when I talked about throwing away things into nature here in Switzerland, you know, it's such a sin, especially for my generation, because nobody would have done that. We learned that when you are going to nature, all the garbage you take back home with you. You never leave anything, not even in the city, you know, forget about out in nature. So somebody said, but it's normal to get angry. I said, yes, it's normal, it seems normal, but it doesn't help anything. It doesn't stop them from throwing out the things. It just makes us build up these kind of layers and layers and layers. And then we go home, and then somebody has maybe broken the computer or something, or, you know, it doesn't have to be such a big thing. Somebody has broken your favorite cup or whatever, then they get all the anger. Yeah, it's, as Maya says, it is a habit, and awareness kind of is the first key, not to create more seeds. Yeah, we have many seeds of anger, because every time we get frustrated, we see something and we don't dissolve it, it goes back into the subconsciousness and it creates another seed. Yeah, and maybe you remember, you know, the causes for anger is our tendencies, our karmic seeds, our habits that we have. Then it's, for example, discussions. Then it's our views. Then it's because we dislike the object. And then it's especially what is called inappropriate attention. We allow the mind to be there. And also we'll have to go into the verses here, because otherwise you don't advance at all. Because there's also one verse, like, the best fuel for anger is unhappiness. So every time you go out of the house in the morning, you check your, you check your face and you check your hair if you have some, and you check maybe your makeup for the ladies, whatever you look. But do you ever check inside? Do you ever check, how do I feel? And if you feel that you feel really rotten and angry already, so it doesn't need much to make you even more angry, or at least frustrated or annoyed. I think one of these, it's not to criticize you, but one of the Israeli kind of national delusions is annoyance. You're not a good Israeli if you're not annoyed at certain things. And sometimes it's, very small things. There is no need to be annoyed at, but it's like, it's such a habit. Yeah. And because everybody is doing it, then you don't notice it so much, I think. If you come like me as a foreigner, then I notice it. And, I think, like, why are you getting upset? Then they say, I'm not upset. I said, sorry, but if I hear your voice and if I look at your face, to me, that seems upset. Like at one point, my bag usually is really light. There's hardly anything in it. But at one point I was going to a puja, so there was the mandala in it, and then the doji and the bell and the text and all this. So somebody picks up the bag, looks at me, totally outraged. Why is this so heavy? And I say, yeah, well, because there's heavy things. I couldn't understand the reaction. Yeah. And then I started to notice that many people in your country react like this. When something comes that is unexpected, even though it's a small thing, because she didn't have to carry it, she was just picking it up. It's like, why being annoyed? Yeah, but it has become a bit of a habit. So the awareness is there to look at your habits, because if it seems normal, then we're not doing anything against it. So my dear Gal, where are you? Can you please put in the text? I think we have arrived at verse 4. Also, what we talked about last time, I think, is like to really check when you are getting angry, which of my needs did not get fulfilled. I wonder if you did it, because that also helps, because it goes into concern for yourself. You see, the mind, we have mental factors. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. Many of you have. It's called lorik. So we have mental factors, and they each have a different function and a different flavor. So by being aware and by watching the mind and kind of turning inside to do this kind of introspection, we start to notice, this kind of factor is there now, this kind of factor and this kind of factor, with time and with awareness. In the head, knowing all these factors by heart is not going to do anything for you. You need to experience them. You need to see them. You need to be able to see. So when you are in the anger, it's hot or it's cold, and it definitely tells a story that is not true, and you lose your calm. This is what it does to you. You know, you lose your human intelligence, basically. Yeah. You go into total fantasy, what is going on. And for that, you need to see it. And then when you make the step out of the anger and you start to ask yourself, which need did not get fulfilled? You are in a mental factor of concern or kindness or even compassion for yourself, which feels totally different than the energy of anger. This is why. You know, that's a very good question to ask yourself, which needs did not get fulfilled? And then to see that we have a lot of needs. Maybe you have too many needs for the world to be able to fulfill. Maybe we are too nutnicky, so people can be, you know, the way we want them to be, because we also start to see that according to the mood that I am in, we expect the other person to feel that and to react. You know, if I want to be left alone, the other person, this is about partners, my partner has to feel it and to see it and to leave me alone. If I want affection, they have to sense it. Yeah, so we are a bit like kind of full of expectations like that. One time we want them to be very affectionate and, you know, very close. Another time we want them to leave us alone. And if they don't do that when we come in the house, then already we kind of get a bit frustrated. Yeah. I had this with my ex-boyfriend many, many years ago when I was, you know, sometimes I was coming home and I'm thinking, like, oh, I'm sure he's watching TV. And I was already in a bad mood. I had a lot of bad moods before I started practicing Dharma. So for me, this is very valuable. All these methods, you know, they really saved my life. So I was sure he was watching TV when I came home, but he wasn't. So then mind would immediately go, why isn't he watching TV? You know, so it's good to see that also, this objectiveness, always giving the other person the fault. So, but we're still with the disadvantages of anger. So here it says, another one is, a master who has hatred is in danger of being killed, even by those who for their wealth and happiness depend upon the master's kindness. So this can go two ways, this kind of verse. So because it also has different, it has sometimes a bit different explanations. But somebody who is not kind, somebody who is very aggressive, can get killed by those people that actually would depend upon him. So that's one way, that's basically what the verse is saying. Another way to look at it is that when we are very angry, we totally lose our reasoning, and we can actually, I mean, I don't mean us, okay? I hope none of us, but we never know. And we can actually then kill somebody when anger is very strong. Maybe I better say one instead of we. Yeah, one is able to kill even people that you actually love, or even people that you actually depend upon for your survival. Yeah, so this is a very, very big danger of anger. Then by it, friends and relatives are disheartened. Though drawn by my generosity, they will not trust me. In brief, there is nobody who lives happily with anger. This is another thing we don't really see in others. We don't really want to recognize it in others because we kind of, how to say, we think that they choose to be angry. We think they enjoy their anger. We think they enjoy their life because they're angry, and we totally forget that one of the biggest disadvantages of anger is that you cannot enjoy anything. Nothing seems attractive when you're angry. Your taste is totally gone. Your love for music is not there. You cannot enjoy a beautiful movie because that was the verse number 3, you know, when it says, I'm unable to sleep, I shall feel unsettled. You don't see any beauty anywhere when you're angry. So that's another good thing to think about when you're not angry. Because when you think about these things, when you're angry, you get angrier. Because you're so frustrated and you don't want to, anger doesn't want to recognize it. Or anger on one hand, maybe one part of us understands how impatient, how we are under the control of anger, that we even get more frustrated and more angry. Yeah. So we lose contact to our good heart when we are angry, totally. And here this thing when it says, they will not trust me when I'm angry. Do you know angry people? Maybe I can see your faces again because I find it a bit difficult. And then we can just bring it back. Thank you, Gal. Yeah. Do you know angry people? Yeah. Do you trust them? No. Do they tell the truth? Do they say, you know, exactly as it is when they talk about the situation? In general, of course, maybe there's maybe exceptions, but in general, no, we don't trust them. Do you like to be together with them? No. We will do a short reflection on this maybe before we end then. Again, the reflections are there so that you feel it, you know, that you feel it on a more, not just up in the head, that you move from the head to the heart. Because having these things up in the head is a good thing already. Yeah, but it's not enough. It needs to go down to the heart because otherwise nothing will transform. So we can see we cannot be trusted. But the problem is when we are angry, we are convinced that we are telling the truth. Yeah, this kind of totally objective, the fault is out there and not in here, you know. And especially again for Buddhists, Mahayana Buddhists, when we are angry at somebody or angry at your government or angry at the situation in Israel and all this, we totally forget about karmic results. Yeah. And when we look at the world at the moment, not just Israel, it's like we all have the collective karma to live in this world where everybody's running after, not everybody, but most of the people are having strange values. That money is more important than people, for example. That profit is more important than people, you know. That factories who make weapons say, oh, in Switzerland, you know, Oh no, but we have to make them, otherwise 2,000 people lose their job. Like not thinking that they could produce something else with these 2,000 people. It doesn't have to be weapons. I mean, we saw it now, you know, because now Switzerland is opening up again. So all the shops and all the restaurants, they have these plexiglass windows where the people who work are behind them. You also have this in Israel. You go to the supermarket, they're all sitting behind, you know, post office already had it. But so all these plexiglass windows, where did they come from? They came from factories kind of changing their production to plexiglass windows so that they can sell them. So the human mind is, they can invent a lot of things if one needs to. But if one doesn't need to, and as long as people still, you know, buy weapons and it's still allowed to sell them and all this, then people come with these strange arguments. Oh, but you know, we have to produce them and we have to, no, the argument I think in Switzerland was, we have to produce these weapons. I mean, it's like, because Switzerland doesn't use any weapons, but we need weapons in case there is a war. So if we don't produce many of them and we cannot test them like other people test them for us or something like that, then it's not profitable to use weapons just for Switzerland or to manufacture weapons. It's not profitable to manufacture weapons just for Switzerland because the tests are too expensive. So that's how it went. That was the argument. I mean, come on, you know. Okay, so but this is when we are angry. This is another good thing to really observe. Like when you're out of anger, talk to somebody. It would be good if you would record it, and then to listen to it again when you have calmed down. To see that at the moment when you angrily said something, and it doesn't have to be exploding anger, by the way. It's this closed heart that I'm talking about. Explaining a situation to somebody who has hurt you, maybe very calmly explaining it. But try to really observe, is this really the whole truth, what I'm saying here? Am I not exaggerating? Am I not just, you know, seeing one part of it? Is this what is called right speech, what I'm doing here? Is it kind? You know, right speech from Mother Teresa? Wow, this is so great. We would be so silent most of the time. She kind of encouraged her sisters that when they wanted to say something, to first check, is it true? And fully true, not just one part. Is it kind? And is it necessary that I'm saying this now? Yeah, so the same way as we don't trust others when they're angry, the same way, you know, people don't trust us because we're not telling the whole truth. Okay, so then we can move on to the next, Gal, if you can give us back the text. If you have questions or comments, you know, because this, again, it's nicely, the group is small enough so that we can discuss these things because it needs to be discussed. Okay, it's not really a text that you learn by heart and then you study it. I think it's okay, it's big enough. No? It's really something that you practice. Have you ever lost friends through anger? Because we were still by number 5 here. Sorry. Yeah, be it friends and relatives are disheartened, meaning, you know, they don't want to have contact with me anymore. Maybe you don't feel it because, of course, it's always other people's fault, but have you left people because of their anger? No, nobody? Okay, good. You're all realized bodhisattvas there, or at least trying to avoid them a bit, you know, somebody who is like constantly angry. Hence the enemy anger, that's number 6. Now you can move upwards a bit. Hence the enemy anger creates suffering such as these, but whoever assiduously overcomes it finds happiness now and hereafter. So because anger is difficult to deal with, and practicing patience also is not so terribly easy, and it hurts. Not saying what anger wants to say hurts. So we really, really need to see the benefit of it. Otherwise nothing will change. We need to be able to take the hardships. So I have some notes here, which is a description of what patience is. So it is not just with equanimity waiting until the difficult situation has passed. Real patience relaxes and leads to deeper understanding that helps us to have endurance. So you need to understand the situation. And it's only a relaxed mind who can understand the situation. So you need to learn to relax. This is what it means. And the best way to relax when you're angry is taking the mind away from the object. Yeah. And not start to think about the object while you are angry, because otherwise this is like pouring fuel on your anger. And this is what we love to do, because anger loves to be angry. What to do? This is what it is. The ego likes anger because we are somebody special. So training in patience is the cultivation of being able to relax in difficult situations. So again, instead of running away from the difficult situations, especially the ones who are not so difficult, we have ways and means to train. We have the opportunity to train, especially the so-called little things. This is where we train. Waiting in line when traffic is slow. I think we have plenty of occasions to do that. If something lasts longer than expected, like your light train in Tel Aviv, like the metro, yeah, to be patient with your metro. How do you call it? Light train, I think. The one that goes like the buildings and all this. So you have perfect opportunity. Like, for example, when you see what is happening again, and you get upset and you get angry. So one question would be, how does this affect my life right now, right this moment? Okay. Then the next question is, okay, what can I change in this? So again, you moved out of the situation, because of course it's upsetting that people who are, probably earning a lot of money are planning things that are totally off the wall. And by the time it will be finished, it's already too small or whatever. It takes much longer. It's much more expensive and all this. Also, another thing is kind of to think, oh, it could be much worse. That is a good antidote to anger. Like the road could have been destroyed, for example, by an earthquake. Then the situation would be much worse. It might be, this is interesting also, it would be less upsetting because we wouldn't get angry at an earthquake because it's nature. But when a person or people are behind it, and on top of it, we think that they earn a lot of money, then it's really upsetting. Yeah. So you could think, well, it could be much worse, it could be whatever, use your imagination how it could be worse, because then also you start to calm down. Then another way to really practice patience is when other people make mistakes. So you see, we want them to be, here has to do with the verse that came before, like our friends and relatives. When we get angry at them, every time they make a mistake, even they make always the same mistake, try to really understand, nobody wants to make mistakes. We all like to be good at what we're doing. Of course, it looks like some people don't care. Okay, maybe they don't care, but they would be happier if they would be good at what they're doing. Yeah. But if our ego mind says, oh, they don't care, then it's not about, they don't care about their job. Yeah, we make it again a personal thing. They don't care about me. Yeah, they don't satisfy what I want them to do or whatever. So it is so relaxing when you work somewhere with many people together or with just a few, when you are the one not getting angry when somebody is making mistakes. Oh, this is so healing for the energy in your workplace, I tell you. But it's such a habit again, you know, but it's so normal. It's not normal, it's just a habit, but it's not normal. Yeah. And especially with your children, you know, I mean, if they make mistakes and you kind of fly off the handle and you scream at them, they will very, very quickly stop to tell you what they did, and they will start to hide their mistakes. And this is what we're doing in the workplace also. Because, you know, it seems to be kind of a convention, an agreement, that if you make a mistake, everybody else can kind of vomit their frustration upon you, isn't it? So don't be the one doing that also. And sometimes if we're really, really honest, not always, but sometimes when we dislike somebody, we're quite happy that they're making mistakes. Because then we have a reason to dislike them, and you know, it's justified, and we can get angry at them. Try to find that one, because that's the really nasty one, that one. And you will see, if you catch it, not in the head, but in the heart, if you catch that kind of strange happiness of being happy when somebody makes a mistake that we dislike, if you catch it, it can be that the dislike for the person falls apart at that moment, if you're lucky. Yeah, because you're not harboring anymore, just waiting for somebody else to make mistakes. Yeah, because that one is a really nasty one. And I see it in myself. I have it. I mean, not big mistakes, but somehow, you know, there's this little bit of rejoicing. Again, it's a very short moment in here that you can feel it in your body. Kind of, oh, they made a mistake. Not with thoughts, but just with kind of feelings. Okay, so hence the enemy anger creates suffering such as these, but whoever assiduously overcomes it finds happiness now and thereafter. So this is something that we have to a little bit convince ourselves that we would be happier if we would not have anger. Why? Why would we be happier if we wouldn't have anger? Or so much, like Dani is saying, you know, yeah, thank you. Like Dani is saying, so much of these little angers that we find is just like it's normal and we just let them be there. Why would we be more like happier? What do you think?
We would be calmer.
We would be calmer, and calm is equal happiness?
It's part of it, yes.
Part of it, okay. What else? I mentioned not so long ago, the biggest disadvantage of anger for you.
For me, it's because I would be able to open my heart more and have compassion more.
Yeah, and that is happiness, isn't it? That's the happiness we want, not the happiness of hurting somebody. That's one, but another very worldly kind of thing, you know, if you would have less anger. Because I said, when you're angry, you cannot enjoy anything. And this is another thing we don't notice. Is it, it's a necessity to achieve happiness? No, it's not necessary. If you don't want it, you don't have to. It's totally, you are able to suffer, as you know, you're allowed to suffer as much as you want. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. You know, if you don't want to be happy, well, what to do? I meant the calm part. Oh, if the calm to be happy is, oh, if you mean in order to be happy, you need to be calm. Being a better person is a desire, yes. It's a good desire, isn't it? You know, there are some good desires and then there's some bad desires, you know. So I think it's again, you know, what do we call a better person? An open heart. Let's call like this, because better person is a better. But having an open heart, I wish I had an open heart. I wish I could accommodate everybody in my heart, no matter how they are. So this is for me what I want. But again, this is what I want. You have to decide for yourself what you want. So these methods are to open up our heart so that our heart is not covered by the stings and the arrows, you know, that kind of shoot out when we are angry. So this is why we defined anger as a wish to harm, or as I just said before, when somebody makes a mistake that you dislike, this kind of nasty happiness there, you know, it's not nice. This is perverse happiness. Me personally, I don't want to have it, but if you want to have it, it's fine. You see, again, Buddhism gives you many, many methods. And this is why I think in every talk I gave at the beginning, we meditated, reflected on what do I really want. So if you don't know what you want, you know, maybe you're in the wrong class here. You know, this is like, if you already know what you want, but you want something different, like you want to be strong and you want to keep your anger and you want to be clever so that you can exploit everybody and you want to become really famous and this and that, then Buddhism maybe is not for you. Yeah, because this is not what it's going to give you. It will give you peace of mind. But if you don't want to have it, then of course, then why wanting to study these methods? Then it's just curiosity, that's fine. Then you can say, oh, Buddhism is bullshit. It's okay, you're allowed to say that, this is fine, you know. Makes people weak, yes. Makes people not fight for themselves, yes, that's true, yeah. So that's not for everybody. But with the, again, happiness is maybe not a good word, you know. Again, we would have to define what is happiness. This is wanting to describe happiness with words is like wanting to describe to somebody the taste of sugar who has never tasted sugar. How can you define it? So you have to find out for yourself first, what is happiness? You know, there's worldly happiness. Happiness, for example, if a big suffering has disappeared. I would like to share that I'm listening time after time to the recording lessons. And I find, shall I read it out or not? And I find many things that I hear for the first time, although I really listening well, it's amazing. Okay, well, as long as if it's for some benefit, then it's fine. Yeah, if it's of no benefit, then I'm really, okay, that's fine. If it's of no benefit, then I'm sorry to waste your time. But if it's of some benefit, then it's fine. Because so we have like fleeting happy feelings of when, for example, you had a fever and you felt really bad. In the morning you wake up and you feel the fever is gone. So this is the most happiness that we find, you know, like we have suffering, then it goes, and then we're happy. But this is very short because then another suffering starts. Yeah, so that's not really happiness. We have happiness when people also that we like very much are well and are happy. That's already a happiness that is less dependent on that we have to suffer, because this is what many people say actually. But I need my suffering because otherwise how can I be happy? Very, very often at the beginning of especially the Buddhist path, if you haven't really understood what suffering is and what happiness is, people say, but I want my suffering because how can I be happy otherwise? Because it's true. This, for the most part, where we experience happiness, this is the moment. So we think we need our suffering in order to be happy. But happiness, I mean, freedom. The freedom to choose what kind of mood I want to be in. The freedom not to be under the control of desire, jealousy, depression, arrogance, confusion, these kind of things. To be free from suffering, suffering of pain in the body and the mind, suffering of pain of uncertainty, suffering of pain of, even though there is no pain now, but I carry with me the potential that everything can fall apart just like this. I mean, look, how many people will lose their kind of seemingly secure existence because of a virus? And that can happen anytime. A war can break out anywhere. somebody going totally crazy, taking a gun and starting to shoot. We also have it in Switzerland, you know. You take the car, you are convinced you come back home safe and sound. Oh, how can you be so sure? Yeah, so like this. Wherever we go, we are surrounded by many, many causes that can destroy our very fragile happiness, just like this. Whereas if you have happiness through a wish for others and yourself to be happy, it's called love. If you have happiness because you have a calm and equanimous mind, a mind who understands suffering has causes, and they go, you know, we have to, of course, now we see that there's a virus. So these are the causes that we can see, material, you know, causes we can touch, we can understand, although the virus we can't see, but we have, still they made a picture and who knows. You see, we all believe that this virus looks like this, isn't it? Yeah. How many of you have seen it? Yeah, but we all, science, ooh, they're always right, isn't it? So this is how the virus looks. So, but we carry with us, you know, this potential from being more or less happy or relaxed. We carry it with us to fall then into some kind of unhappiness. And this insecurity, nowhere to be sure and secure, this we carry with us all the time, no matter where you go. Yeah, so this is what it means with the happiness. Actually, a happiness that is absence from suffering, and not just suffering of pain and in the body and in the mind, but absence from being under the control of these negative emotions who create more negative karma for more suffering in the future. Yeah, and we can do this. We can work with the mind. Yeah, but if we don't work with the mind, we are slaves of our mind. The mind, one day it wants this, then it wants that. Then it's very enthusiastic about, you know, about practice. And then you start your practice and then you get bored and then you drop it and then you go somewhere else and then you get bored with that. You know, we're running around trying to find happiness all the time. This is why the world looks the way it looks. This is why we make so much progress, because we can't find contentment anywhere. You know, the moments of contentment that we have, they're so short, but also those you can cultivate by a very simple sentence. That's what we started the reflection with, Precious Human Rebirth, by thinking, oh, I'm so fortunate. Yeah. But again, it can go totally wrong when you think that. When you start to think, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. If you don't know the whole of Buddhism, you get depressed. Because you go, I have this, 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 but I'm still not happy. What's wrong with me? And then you get depressed. Whereas if you know Buddhism, then you go, of course, I'm still not happy because that's just the beginning. Those are the conditions I need to have to practice. But this is not what should make me happy. These are just the tools or the conditions I need to work with the mind. Yeah. And then you go like, of course I'm not happy. Why? Because I'm in samsara, because I'm still under the control of my ego-centered mind. As long as we haven't seen reality as it is, we will not find the happiness that we deeply, deeply wish for. And where most of humanity is going to is changing the world outside. And it's not leading anywhere. Well, it is leading somewhere. It leads to the destruction of the planet. Our trying to find happiness outside, doesn't it? It will have no end. You know, the progress, what is the purpose of progress? To go further and further and further and further. Nobody ever who made telephones, you know, these ones, because I wanted to call you when the computer stopped working. Nobody who makes these telephones says, okay, this will be the last one, then that's it, it's good enough. Nobody. Because better, higher, it's part of what is called samsara. It's part of not seeing reality as it is. It's part of not understanding, really understanding on a deep, deep level that happiness is in the mind. Okay, we do verse 7 still, because that will be your homework then. And then we do short reflection and then we can finish. Because again, it's supposed to be an hour and a half, isn't it? This whole thing, or how long? Nobody's answering me now. Okay, so hence the enemy anger. So when we see the disadvantage of anger, not just in the head, but in the heart, in a very deep way, and say, yeah, the only enemy I have is anger, because it creates the enemy outside, creates suffering such as these, like losing our friends, getting killed, nobody trusting us. You know what we were looking at above, like not being able to sleep, not being calm, not being able to enjoy anything. So these are what he says here, suffering such as these. But whoever assiduously overcomes it finds happiness now and hereafter. So we find the energy or the need and the want to change something, to wanting to find more happiness. And there's nothing wrong with being happy, by the way, because if you are happy, you have no wish to harm somebody else. If you want to help the world, you have to learn how to be happier people, guys. Yeah. So then verse 7, having found so few people understand all this. No, it's not sad, because the ones who are here now, we understand, so we can change the world. Don't worry. Don't be sad about other people not understanding. This is it. We are in a phase where we concentrate on ourselves first. First, we need to understand, because I don't really understand. And by understanding, I mean, I know it in the head, the happiness in the mind. But if the person who makes the website, if he makes a mistake again, I forgot. You know, when I'm unhappy, it takes time for me to remember, hey, but you know, you don't have to be grumpy. You know, when you listen to these things again and again and again and again, and I'm lucky enough that I have to talk about these things again and again and again and again, all of a sudden it works. You know, one day also I was really grumpy, and I don't know from where the thought came, hey, but you don't have to be grumpy. Boom, and then it was gone. You know, you can try to do this 700 times, it doesn't work. You do it for the 701st time, boom, then it works. All of a sudden we start to understand the choices that we can make. Yeah. Okay, so having found its fuel of mental unhappiness in the prevention of what I wish for, and in doing what I do not want, hatred increases and then destroys me. So for example, there is anybody knows Hermann Hesse? Maybe, yes. Yeah, he's more, yeah, okay. So when this Glasperlenspiel, this Magister Lugi, I don't know how it's called in English, this, you know, the glass pearl game, maybe something like that. So when he had to leave, you know, and he's telling himself, stop hating to go. When we have to go somewhere, anyway, it's such a powerful sentence for me. You know, when I feel I hate to go somewhere, and I remember that from Hermann Hesse, stop hating to go. And then he tells himself, so nimm den Abschied, Herz, nun und gesunde. So say farewell, my heart, and become healed. Kind of let go. Yeah, it doesn't sound so good in English. It sounds quite nice in German. But anyway, the fuel is mental unhappiness. So this is your homework. We go into these two verses, the glass bead game. Yeah, thank you very much. Ingrid, do you speak German by any case? Are you? Ingrid is quite a German name, though. Are you German? Or from, yes, okay. Thank you. So you can help me with my English sometimes. So that's great. Thank you very much. So your homework will be to check your mind state from time to time. How do I feel? And then to find ways and means to make you feel better, to choose happiness over grumpiness, or, you know. And for that, maybe if you go a little bit further down, because then the answer for that is already further down. So this is what you can, yeah, number 10. This is what you can learn by heart. Why be unhappy about something if it can be remedied? And what is the use of being unhappy about something if it cannot be remedied. Isn't that wonderful? So try to remember that, you know. And another good thing to help with your bad mood, your fears and all this, well, one is to remember the nature of things. Everything is impermanent. Everything can change. Nothing is reliable. And we have to live with that fact. It's a fact. We cannot change it. The moment we see it as nature, that everything constantly always falls apart. You know, new things come up, they stay a while, well, they fall apart. If we can start to live with that fact of nature, we start to relax and we start to enjoy much more the ride, you know, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's one thing. And another thing is to really imagine, okay, my situation is not good. So you're not using your intelligence to make a bad situation into a good situation. This is not what we want. This is also not being realistic. But to put it into context, you know, okay, my situation is bad, but it could be worse. Yeah, that also, you know, instead of saying I have this and have this and have this and this, all of it is good, why am I not happy? Yeah, because very often it makes us feel guilty. You go like, okay, my situation is really shitty at the moment. That's true. But it could be worse. And then you imagine in a realistic way how it could be worse. You know, like for me, it's very easy how it could always be worse, because I used to be an alcoholic, which I'm not anymore. And I'm very grateful for that because life is much easier. So, so whenever I feel kind of difficult, I think, yeah, but I could still be an alcoholic. And then definitely the situation would be much worse. So your job is to find something that appeals to you, you know, something that is realistic for you. Because I could also think, oh yeah, my situation is difficult, but I could also have leprosis at that moment. But I can't identify, I can't see myself having leprosis, but I can see myself being an alcoholic again. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So that would be your homework. First to check from, especially in the morning when you go out of the house. Yeah. How do I feel? What kind of mood? What's the weather inside? You know, we check the weather outside. Start to check the weather inside. The weather outside you cannot change. The weather inside you can change. And then maybe then next time when we meet, we exchange some of the ideas that you had. Because maybe something that you haven't found, somebody else finds, and we can share. Yeah. What we could do maybe next time is, Gal, where are you? You're still there somewhere. Yeah, there you are. Sorry. Can you do breakup rooms, chat rooms?
I'll find out how to do it.
Otherwise, I can do it from my side, maybe.
If WhatsApp.
Huh?
We have a WhatsApp group of this.
No. You know, in this whole thing that we do here, the host, the administrator can break you up into chat rooms, into discussion groups with 4 people, 5 people, you know, then you're all separate and you discuss with each other and then you come back to everybody and then you share what you discussed. Don't tell me you didn't know. You didn't know? Oh,
no, I know.
I just wanted to thank you. I feel that listening again. Yeah, okay, good. You're very welcome, Sigal. Okay, did you understand the homework? Yeah, verse number 7, but you don't have to bring it, I just read it. Having found its fuel of mental happiness, or how Yanai says, tiredness, for example. Tiredness is a fuel for anger. You know, being frustrated already and then somebody else, you know, goes top on top on top on top. Having found its fuel of mental unhappiness. Or you could think, as a Buddhist, of course, the ones who are already Buddhists, you can think precious human rebirth. Wow, I have so many possibilities, you know. You think about your guru, that also. You think about the Buddha. Look at the Buddha. I mean, how the Buddha is emanating peace, you know. And then you look at him and you go, hey, guy, how did you do this? I want to become like you. Or you listen to the Dalai Lama laugh, for example. Yeah. By the way, he's going to be teaching next Saturday, Sunday. In your country, it's even more early. It's like 3:30 in the morning, isn't it? Here it's only 4:30. Could you please repeat the homework? Yes. So the homework is to really check the state of your mind and to see that, you know, you can feel when you're open, happy, full of confidence, kind of, how to say, yeah, bye, Rakefet. You know, when you feel well. So, and you can feel when you not feel well, you know, disturbed, anxious, grumpy, kind of, nothing seems pleasant, not your toothpaste in the morning, not your shower gel. Or maybe you can, you know, sniff your soap or your shower. If you go like, oh, that means you're happy. If you go like, then that means you're unhappy. Yeah, so a bit like this. Learn to get to know these states of mind and learn to accept them first, of course, because we're not pushing them away, and then learn a method how to clear up. Another good, you know, so many methods. Another good method is, hey, this is just a movie, because it is just a movie. Our life is just a movie. You have a choice how to play your role. Now, I know some of you are psychologists, and some of you, when you tell me about the patients that you have, I know that there are people who seem to have very little choice, okay? But this is not you. You who are listening to me now, you have a choice. Don't always think about these others who don't have a choice and then think, well, if they don't have a choice, I also don't have a choice. We have a choice. Take that choice. Try to find ways and means to make you feel better, more open. Yeah. And it can be meditation, by the way. Sitting down, focusing on the breath. Staying with the breath. With thoughts, you can. Or just, you know, how wonderful. How wonderful. I heard about methods to work with my mind. And as Ingrid just says, it's so sad. So many people don't know this, but I know now. It's another method. Yeah. And this whole thing, I want to be a good person. This is the purpose of my life. Okay. Is it clear with the homework now? You know, work with unhappy states of mind, because they are the fuel for anger. This is why the more unhappy you are, the quicker you get angry. Happy people are not angry. Sorry to say so. Yeah, they're not angry. Anger has no chance, you know, there's like brushing away a fly when some unpleasant thing comes. Okay, goodbye, like that. Do you still want to do a short reflection? For those who, because I think it's an hour and a half this is supposed to last, isn't it? So now it's again, we've gone over 15 minutes here. Because some talks I give it's 2 hours, some are an hour and a half, I'm not quite sure. Oh, but we just do a short reflection if you still want to do that. Otherwise, you can say goodbye. I wish you a very happy day. I see that many people are going, so yes, have a good time. Don't forget, the reflections can be helpful. It's part of transforming the mind, but if there's things that are more important, then of course, then that's fine. So you just again take kind of a comfortable position. As Sigal was saying in her chats, being happy about having heard a few things that maybe can be useful. Maybe yes, maybe not. I mean, it doesn't have to be useful. You know, we do so many things that are totally not useful and we don't get upset. It's okay. If it's not useful, then just let it go. Again, connect with the body. And then again, you know, if we want to know what happiness is, it's very, very easy to feel happiness. Think about somebody that you like very much. somebody you're not afraid of, somebody you're not jealous, somebody that doesn't push your buttons. And you hear the person say, today I'm really well. That's love. Look at your heart. This is how happiness feels. Being happy when somebody else that you like. Unfortunately for us, we have to like them in order to be happy. Then all the other things, you know, we all know them. We don't really have to produce them now. It's like feeling anxious, feeling depressed, anger, jealousy, arrogance, confusion, all this. This is what is called unhappy states of mind. Not so much because they feel unhappy when they're there, but because they create situations which create suffering, because it's like throwing a boomerang when you act out of these negative states of mind. This is why they're called negative, not because they feel unpleasant, but because they create negative karma, negative potential. Okay, but we're coming back to ourselves and we go, what do I really want? What is important for me? And maybe a little bit, you know, what do I want from other people? How do I want them to treat me or to see me? Ah, that's a good one. How do I want other people to see me? Or what do I want from my life? So we usually come up, you know, with, I would like to be respected for what I am. I would like to be seen, but in a good light, not attract like negative attention. I would like a good job. I would like to have harmonious relationship. I would like to have friends with which I can spend a good time, or we can laugh together. It kind of flows, we resonate with each other. I would like to have a healthy body, isn't it? This is what we put a lot of effort in to get these things, which is okay, it's fine. So now we check, you know, in what way can anger help me to get these things? Because these are very deep sitting wishes. They sit so deep that we don't even notice them sometimes. But these are our automatic pilots. This is what we want in general. Of course, can be different or not. Really listen to your heart. What do I want? It's very simple. And then to really understand, anger not only doesn't get me all these things, but it actually destroys all those things. But now we need to generate compassion for ourselves and for all others who are also angry. By understanding anger has causes, and underneath anger is always having been hurt, the needs not being fulfilled, fear, disappointment. An unhappy state of mind in general. So now we generate some kindness towards that unhappy state of mind, and we can think, may I be happy? Whatever you think happiness is, doesn't matter. It's this kind of, a very loving, kind, friendly attitude towards ourselves. May I be safe? May I be protected from physical and mental harm? May I be strong, healthy, loving, and peaceful. As you get used to these thoughts, you will see just these thoughts start to calm you down, to soothe you, because it's the power of love. Love towards ourselves, understanding that we're suffering. And instead of being angry at ourselves, we open up our heart. May I be strong, healthy, loving, and peaceful. Again, don't worry so much if you're not these things at the moment. What counts here is the mind state, your attitude towards yourself. Because by thinking that, you give yourself the permission to be happy, which sometimes we don't. It seems as if we are punishing ourselves for who knows what. May I be able to live my life with joy and ease. And I will give myself the permission to live my life with joy and ease, no matter what's going on around me. I can train that without having to fake anything, by opening up the heart towards myself and all others. So we think about all other people who also suffer from anger. And we think, may all beings be safe. May they all be protected from physical and mental harm that we do to each other out of ignorance, because we don't really know the consequences, because we are under the control of our confusion, wrong views, anger, attachment, and so on. So again, don't think about the people who hurt others. Just generate the wish. May everybody be protected from physical and mental harm, because that at least protects us from hurting them. That wish, that thought, which is compassion and patience, not to harm back, but to protect others. May all beings be strong, healthy, loving, and peaceful. And may all beings be able to live their lives with joy and ease, again, no matter what's going on around them. We don't have control over the world, but we do have some kind of control how we react to it. And we have to take that choice. We can, by being aware of it. Okay. Thank you very much. I wish you a happy week so that you don't have to transform too many unhappy states of mind, but with awareness, and then hopefully, do we continue? Yeah, I think so, yeah. So see you next Wednesday, maybe. Thank you very much for listening, and try to think about your homework, and try to then we try to share your experiences, yeah, so we can help each other a little bit. Because also it makes it, sometimes we think we have understood something, or we think we do something, but then by discussing it with others, all of a sudden it becomes much more clear. Yeah, you're very, the discussion is very, very powerful. Yeah, so, and it's very necessary also, because otherwise we might be stuck in our own misconceptions about what anger is and this and that, and don't advance. Okay, so thank you very much, and do take care. Bye, Nitan. You're very welcome. Bye. Shall I go? Then everybody else can go. I go. Okay, bye.